I've always wanted to be James Bond, running around like this. Well, I can't, sadly. Maybe I can in the future. In the meantime, I shall live in the fantasy world of video games to pretend that I am James Bond. In this case, James Bond in a game called Torchlight 2, which is exactly what our man Avery is reviewing for this week's Gamer Station.
Hey, Avery Score here, and welcome to another action-packed episode of the Gamer Station, where today we're talking about Torchlight 2, the game I have behind me, a game that might seem familiar to Diablo 3 fans, everything but the price tag, that is. $20 US, quite cheap compared to the $60 that you would pay for Diablo 3, and you're able to pay that money directly to Runic Games on their website or buy via Steam. Now, I love this kind of distribution model because it allows you to pay your money directly into the pockets of the people who made this quality title. And quality it is. It's truly shocking how good this game is. Even if you played Torchlight 1, the world has expanded to a much greater extent. There are many more towns to explore, a larger level of enemy variety, some cool new abilities, and overall just a bigger game, a bigger experience, more content, which means more gameplay, which means more happiness for gamers like you and me. Now, Torchlight 2 is very much a dungeon crawler style game. And when I say that, I mean generous. It's very much Diablo. It is Diablo. Every little detail, you're gonna notice tons of stuff throughout gameplay is Diablo. From the way you progress through the game, to even the style, it's maybe Diablo meets World of Warcraft meets steampunk, but everything screams Diablo. In fact, for the uninitiated, say your mother comes up behind you, "What are you playing, honey?" She's not gonna be able to tell the difference, but you perhaps will. The classes do have sort of their unique style. There's a Berserker class, which gets right into the fray of melee action. He's got typically a mohawk. There's also an Outlander, which is what I play primarily, which gives you guns and spells. So if you like shooting people, and if you like doing it with style and magic, then the Outlander class is probably going to be something that you might enjoy. There's also Ember Mages, which plays on the game's sort of Ember system. Ember are kind of these elements, very mysterious. Anyway, the whole story behind this game, I'm not sure if you're going to care too much. I basically have no idea what's going on at any given time. There's this Archmage and this Ozark, like bad god, whatever. It doesn't matter, doesn't play a huge role in gameplay, and the game's animated cutscenes are entertaining, but they're not really the highlight of the game. You just kind of glaze over them. What is the highlight of the game, however, is loot, 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 and more loot. There's so much loot in this game. Pretty much every time you knock down a purple mob, a named mob, he'll explode with seemingly like a piñata full of loot. It's insane. There's just a ton of it. So much so that inventory management is occasionally challenging. Fortunately, you've got this pet who follows you throughout the game. The pet is pretty much like your companion in the Diablo series, and he can act as a pack mule and carry a bunch of stuff for you. In fact, he has just as many inventory storage slots as you do, and you can even send him on his merry way back to town to sell useless vendor junk, and to buy stuff like potions and town portal scrolls and identification scrolls and all those basic items that you need. So your pet can act as kind of a go-between between you and the normal world. So the pet is, in a way, a lot more useful than any human companion you might have had in the past. Now, another cool thing about Torchlight 2 is you can play it entirely in single-player mode. If you guys follow the show, you know that I'm kind of a curmudgeon and I enjoy playing alone. But even still, the ability to play single-player offline mode is something that no longer exists in Diablo 3. You've got to be connected to the internet all the time, or at the very least, you've got to spoof a connection, which means that you can't play in the airplane, you can't play in a few legitimate scenarios where you really can't have an internet connection. So that's, a huge bugbear that people have had with that game. Torchlight 2 also, unlike its predecessor, has an online mode. You can play in online games either over the internet, via your Runic account, or you can play a LAN game. And let me tell you that Torchlight is a blast to play with a few buddies. So if you want to round up the troops and have a cool party game, this is it right here. Just as fun to play in multiplayer as it is to play in single player. This is the kind of game that's engrossing, that'll grab you and won't let go until you reach its completion. And it's going to take you a considerable amount of time to complete Torchlight. There are 100 levels to game. Let me say that again, 100 levels is the level cap, which is huge. And there are additional maps that you can buy after that, which go all the way up to rating of a level 105. So there's just a tremendous amount of content to enjoy in this game. And once again, all for $20 US, 60 ringgit. It's really unheard of. Runic is a small-ish studio based out of Seattle, and they've just done a tremendous job with this title. If anything negative can be said about Torchlight 2, it's the fact that this is just a rip-off of Diablo 3. It really is, from beginning to end. I just can't imagine what Blizzard thinks when they look at even the visual style and realize how influenced it is by, say, the gnomish worlds in World of Warcraft. When they look at every element of gameplay and say, yeah, this is Diablo 3, this is pretty much our project plan. They must be sort of kicking themselves. But they shouldn't be kicking themselves in a way, because here's an indie studio, or relatively indie studio, that for 20 bucks was able to produce a game that's really of paramount quality and tantamount to the quality of Diablo 3. It's shocking. So yeah, you know, 20 lashes with a wet noodle for Runic for copying so blatantly another game, but then I want to big up them as well for doing it so spectacularly. So I'm very torn, and you know what? Probably those sort of ethical debates don't matter all that much when I'm enjoying this game absolutely and totally, and I'm going to get back to it right now. So stay tuned. Catch you next week on the Gaming Station.
And then the episode ended. I can't sing, so I'm not even going to try. Don't forget, if you missed out anything from this week or any other week, enjoy Awani on YouTube. And I love some YouTube. Plus, you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, even email, which I now consider snail mail. Effectively, but a little bit faster than actual snail mail. I'm going to go home and play some FIFA 13. Maybe I'll even let you take a look at that next week. Aha! That's an idea. See you next time.